Namo Buddhaya. Welcome back to another video. From today's video, we're going to discuss about one of the major problems that we go through in our mind when it comes to the stress and anxiety. And that is the what if scenarios, the catastrophizing of mind. Now, this state of mind can affect for many people, and they suffer a lot when these kind of thought patterns hit their mind, right? So what if scenarios are like you imagine all the worst case scenarios in your mind, like what if that happened to me, what if everything went wrong, what if they're cheating me, what if the people all around are up to no good. So we expect and we create these scenarios in our mind and we suffer in it. Okay. And our brain is pretty good at creating these scenarios in our mind, right? So that is why we need to learn how to deal with these kind of thoughts when they come into our mind. Not every time we get these kind of thoughts, but when there are certain times that we get these kind of mental states, and it's very painful, and people suffer a lot in these kind of thought patterns. And this is where the Buddhist practice of mindfulness comes in handy, right? In Buddhist practice, we call mindfulness as sati. Sati is the bringing your mind to this present state and understanding the reality as it is, right? So when you understand the true nature of reality, when you understand that everything, every experience, every mental state has one intrinsic nature, and that is the changing. Every mental state, every experience is subjected to changing, right? But before doing that, there are certain things that we need to understand and we need to think and practice to deal with these kind of catastrophizing thoughts, right? These what if scenarios. The first practice, we need mindfulness to understand this, because we need to catch this thought, right? Without you catching this thought and understanding and realizing this thought, you cannot do anything, right? You cannot deal with anything that you don't understand about. So the first step is to know that you're in a state of the mental state of catastrophizing, right? What if scenarios. So the first step is to understand and challenge your thought, right? How to challenge your thoughts. Now, in this practice, we need mindfulness. We need to catch this thought, right? And understand as it is. And then ask the question from yourself that, is this the reality, or is this just another distortion of my mind about the reality of the life, right? Because the mind and our brain can distort the reality in many ways. It can create many scenarios, but in reality, the problem is very, very little. Right? Sometimes there is no problem. I've seen this a lot of times in mind, that when we don't have much things to worry about, right? When the life goes smoothly, we worry about even about the little things in life. Okay? So that is why first we need to understand, is this reality, or is this another distortion of my mind about the reality? Right? When you understand this, when you come to this present moment and understand what reality is, then you find that there are very few things that we need to worry about, and many things, right? 99% of what we go through is just another distortion of our mind, right? So challenging your thought is very important when you deal with these kinds of mental states. And once you understand the reality, now then you can ask from yourself that, what can I do about it? Is there anything that is under my control that I can take some actions to change this state, right? And then you understand that there are certain things in life that are under your control and that are not under your control, that are out of your control. So then you have to realize that the things that are under your control is totally worth worrying and totally worth taking actions. And the things that are not under your control, we don't have anything to do about it. And also we can't change that state. So what we can do is we can accept it, right? Once you realize the reality, one thing that you can do is to understand what is in your control and what is not in your control. And that is the next thing that you have to do. And once you understand the present state of mind, now you can add a little mindful practice to your life, right? Such as breathing meditation, right? A mindful in-breath and out-breath will help you to relieve your stress. Okay, this is something the Buddha introduced us to do, and Buddha emphasizes to do, to stop the chattering of your mind, to stop this restlessness of your mind. Because once you're in these kind of mental states, one thing that happens to your mind is you become restless. So a mindful breathing practice will help you to relieve the anxiety and relieve the stress from your mind and become more peaceful and calm. And there's another practice that you can do, and this is not directly mentioned in Buddhism, but you can set a time to worry about things, right? So what you have to do when the worryings and when these regrets and these kind of thought patterns come into your mind, say to yourself, okay, wait, there is a time in my day to worry about these things. So wait until that. I will wait until that. And when that time comes, I will do my worrying, I will do my regretting. So what you do, you set an alarm to yourself that I will worry in the future. So then set a maybe time period during the day that you sit down and think, okay, what is there in my mind and in my life to worry about, right? And to check the reality. And then you spend a good time. You don't spend that time worrying and regretting. You spend that time analyzing and not overthinking, but analyzing and realizing about the reality of the life and the present state of life, so that you find there are very few things to worry about in life. And all the other things that our mind has created inside our mind are just nothing but distortions of reality. So these are the few practices that you can add to your life whenever you get these kind of thought patterns. Practicing these tips will help you to ease up your mental state. So practice this and make your mind peaceful and calm. Namo Buddhaya. You are not all alone in this world. Don't think that you don't have help. Don't think that no one is caring about you. The truth is, there are people who can help you and who are willing to help you. All you got to do is just step a little outside and seek for the help from correct people and from the correct places. So when the life throws challenges towards us, when there is tough times in life, we tend to think that we are the only person who is going through depression, anxiety, or stress or problems. But the truth is, if you see the world, there are millions and millions of people who are struggling and who are suffering in this life, right? We all struggle in our lives to live in this world, right? So it is not your suffering. It is not only my suffering. It is our suffering. We all are suffering in this world. The Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. That is the reality. But we don't want to think about this suffering as something negative, right? It is not the suffering that makes us negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to suffering makes us negative, right? So, today, I'm not here to talk about depression and how to quit the depression. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple Buddhist practice that can help you in healing these depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts or any kind of mental suffering that you're having. And this practice is called becoming mindful about your thoughts, right? Becoming mindful about your thoughts. In Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha explains this as Cittanupassana. So how can we practice becoming mindful about our thoughts? It is very simple, right? You can do this practice whenever you want or wherever you want. It is free. You totally have the freedom to do it, right? Here's how we can do this. And when we become mindful about our thoughts, what we are doing is we are not judging our thoughts, and also we are not trying to stop our thoughts, but we constantly become aware of what we are thinking, what comes to our mind. So all you got to do is you can sit down, or you can do this while walking, while traveling in the bus, or wherever you want. Just ask from yourself that, what am I thinking? Then you will come across with these thoughts, right? So what we have to do is, whenever you become depressed, whenever you feel anxious about yourself, whenever you feel sad about something, what you have to do is just notice it. Notice it as a thought. Because most of the time, we judge ourselves by thoughts. We are thinking about ourselves as our thoughts. But remember, you are not your thoughts. When you become more mindful, it gives you this ability to separate yourself from your thoughts. Right? So we don't want to judge ourselves by our thoughts. What we are doing is we become mindful. We become more aware of our thoughts without judging. It is very simple. It's like this. It's like you're watching a traffic pass by sitting beside the road. You can see cars are going, you can see bikes are going, vans, buses, cargo carriers. There are so many vehicles that are going. All you're doing is you're just watching them. You're just noticing them, right? But most of the time what happens is we become more afraid about these vehicles, and we try to jump into the middle of the road, and we are trying to stop these things, right? That is what you are doing. That is what we are doing when we become depressed or sad. When these sad and depressed thoughts haunt our mind, what we are doing is we are trying to fight it. We are trying to suppress them. We are trying to stop them. The more you try to stop these thoughts, it will come again and again. Remember that. So all you got to do is, we are not going to fight them. We are not going to stop them. We are noticing them, right? You can do this. Just ask this simple question from you. What am I thinking? Then you will find that, oh, my thoughts are depressed. It is not me that is depressed. My thoughts are depressed, right? So what is the nature of a thought? It will come and it will stay for a while in your mind, and it will fade away. That is the nature of the thought. So it is just a thought. That means you are not the depression, you are not the anxiety, and you are not the stress. Remember, if you feel hopeless, if you feel that you are not good enough, don't believe what your mind always says. You are more capable than you think. You are more good than you think, right? So what is holding back us is this little frame that we are having inside our mind, that I am not good enough. I cannot do these things. I am not capable of doing these things. I am hopeless. No one is going to help me. If you change that mindset one day, remember, you can do better and you can do more than you think. So please, don't think that you are not good enough. I repeat again that you are more capable of doing things more than you think, right? So believe in it and work for it. So if you are going through painful situations and if you are having painful memories about yourself, don't run away from them. Don't be afraid of them. Remember, pain is a part of growing, right? If you want to grow, sometimes you have to go through pain. Most of the time you have to go through pain. So if you practice these mindful exercises, and if you seek for the help, and if you do this proper medication for your mental suffering, then one day for sure you are going to be okay. You are going to be happy in your life. And this is the best part of recovering from these traumatic and painful situations. What is that? You can help someone who is in the same place as you were. You can say that, do these things, practice these things, think like this, because I know the pain that you are going through, because I was a person like you. But I am recovered now. You also can recover yourself. So you can inspire others and you can help others. And then you will find the real value of your life. So please do not think that you are not good enough. You're more than enough than you think. So remember these things and practice these things in your life. And I wish you all, may all of you find the real happiness in your life. From today's video, let's discuss about how can we deal with anxiety and what to do when our mind becomes anxious, right? We all know that how it is painful when our mind becomes anxious and when we become afraid of the things that will happen in the future, or when the mind creates all these scenarios in our head about the things that will happen in the future, right? So how can we deal with this state of mind? There are a few things that we can do, right? But most of the time, when we become anxious, what happens is we become panicked and we take decisions that may not be the correct decision to take. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you few things and few advices that I have given and that helped me a lot personally to deal with this anxiety. So the first thing that you have to do is, first, you have to be aware of your mental state, right? If you're anxious, if you're afraid of something, the first thing is to be aware of it and to accept it, right? Most of the time, we pretend not to be anxious. We pretend not to be fearful about the future, and we try to reject that state of our mind. The more we reject, the more it persists in our mind. So that is why the first step is to acknowledge and accept your current state of your mind. If you're anxious, just say to yourself, okay, now my thoughts are in anxiety mode, right? My thoughts are anxious. I am fearing about certain things. Acceptance will help you to catch the thought and to be more aware of it. And also, when you accept it, it creates less pain, right? Acceptance is the first step of healing. So the first step is to accept your current mental state. And the second step is, this is amazing. Once you understand the current state of your mind, what you have to do, the biggest advice that I have given about anxiety is do one thing at a time, right? Take one action at a time, right? We all know that when we have lot to do, right? When we have many jobs to do, what happens? We start thinking about everything, right? We started loading these thoughts into our mind every time, and we try to do all at once. But in reality, we can't do all at once, right? One thing that we can do is we can take one job, one action at a time and do that, right? So how to do this? First of all, to clarify your thoughts and to be clear about what you have to do and what you can do and cannot do, first, sit down in a quiet place, take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you are fearing about, and write down all the things about the current situation that you are in. And also, most importantly, you have to write down the things that are in your control and things that are out of your control. When you clarify these things, you can take actions upon the things that are under your control. So one thing that you can do is sit down, write down all the thoughts, write down current situation of your life, and write down all the things that are under your control and not under your control, so that you're very clear about what to do and what not to do, right? So when you clarify that and take one action, just one action, and what you have to do, just execute that action, right? Don't try to do all the things, just pick one action and do it at one. It's something like this, right? Something like you're grabbing a bunch of oranges, right? What will happen if you try to grab a bunch of oranges at once? You can't grab all of them, right? It will fall, they will fall. So one thing that you can do is pick a basket, take one orange at a time and put it into the basket. In that way, you can grab many oranges. In the same way, when you clarify your thoughts and take one action at a time and execute it, then it will be clear in your mind and it will ease up your mental state. So do one thing at a time. And the third step is to do it slowly and deliberately, right? Even when you become clarified about what to do, don't be anxious, don't be panicked. What do you have to do? Do it slowly, right? One thing that a lot of meditation masters teach is that when you're anxious, do something slowly, right? Slow down. When your body becomes slow down, your mind becomes slow down. That's the connection between the body and our mind. When our mind is slow, our body is slow. When our body is slow, our mind is slow. So do things, take that action and do it slowly and deliberately. Do it with proper consciousness, proper awareness and proper mindfulness. That's so that you feel what you're doing. Then you understand what you're doing, right? So in that way, you can ease up this anxiety. And the last thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete the action. When we are anxious about certain things, what we do, we don't complete that action, right? We just hang over that problem or that task and we don't complete it, right? One thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete your action, do it slowly, deliberately, and finally complete that action so that that step is finished, right? And then once you complete that action, what do you have to do? Take the next step and do it slowly, deliberately, and completely. In that way, you can clarify what you have to do, and also you will get a good time to take good decisions. So this is a little way and a tiny practice that you can add to your life to ease up your pain of anxiety. And whenever you're anxious about certain things, try this and it will ease up your pain of anxiety. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to Inner Guide Q&A program, where we find the answers for our life's problems through the great teachings of our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. So one of our viewers have asked a question from us, that how to stop the bad habits. How to stop the bad habits. So today from this Inner Guide program, we are going to learn and find how to stop a bad habit in our life. Before learning how to stop a bad habit, first of all, we have to learn and find what is a habit and how a habit is formed in our life. Normally, habit is something that we do again and again throughout a long time, and after doing it through a long time, it will become automatic, right? After it becomes automatic, it does not require any effort to do, right? There are so many habits in our life, either good or bad. There are so many habits, right? So for an example, let's take early in the morning, you all get up and you go to your washroom and you take your toothbrush and put some toothpaste on it and you brush your teeth. Now, brushing your teeth is a habit. No one gets up in the morning and think, oh, I should brush my teeth today also. No one becomes sad or depressed of brushing teeth, right? Why is that? Because it has become a habit. Because from the little age, from the age that we were as babies, right, we brushed our teeth daily. And with the time, it became a habit. It became something that happens automatically. Normally, we get up early in the morning and we just go to the washroom and we brush our teeth. It does not require any effort, right? So, that is how a habit is formed. We do it for a long time and it becomes something that is very easy and well known, and it does not require any effort. So, there are good habits in our life as well as the evil habits. Now, our focus and our main target should be to reduce these evil habits. So, what are the evil habits that we have? Normally, the main evil habit that we have is we become angry with people all the time, don't we? We become angry. We get angry with people who are in our families, who are in our workplace, right? Why that happened? Did you think why is that happening? Because we have practiced this anger for a long time, and it has become a habit. Now, do you need any effort to be angry with anyone? Do you want to take any effort to be angry with any person? No, you don't. Why? It has become a habit, right? And there is another bad habit. It is the feeling jealousy of others. It does not require any energy. You don't want to think about it. It comes to your mind automatically. And the craving and the lust. When we talk about that, normally we have the habit of craving the things. And the lust has become a habit to our life. So, that means we have practiced these evil thoughts throughout a long time, and it has become a habit. And that is how the evil habits are formed in our life. So, how to break these habits? Well, there is only one way to do that. And that one way is to replace that evil habit from a good habit. Okay? That is the only way you can do that. Stop a bad habit. Instead of practicing that evil habit, in that time, you can practice another good habit. Suppose you get angry with a person, right? You are a person who gets angry all the time. You are a person who loses your temper all the time. So what you have to do, you have to understand about your habit. You have to understand about your situation, right? Now you have to think, I get angry all the time, right? The first step is to understand about your situation. Number 2, you have to think that this evil habit, this bad habit is not good for my life. It will never make any good for my peacefulness or my spirituality. The more you think about that, right, the more you think about the disadvantages of your evil habit, your mind always try to reject those thoughts. Because you are thinking about the disadvantages of those evil thoughts, right? Normally when we see some disadvantages of a special thing or a person or whatever it is, normally we don't like to be with that, right? If you are going to the supermarket and when you're going to buy something, if you come across and if you see some disadvantages of buying that special thing, do you buy that? No, you don't. Right? Same as that, you have to think about the disadvantages of your evil habits. That is the second step. And then as the third step, you can bring out a good habit to practice instead of that evil habit. Suppose you get angry with people all the time. Okay? So what you have to do, instead of blaming others, right? Instead of blaming for the little mistakes of others, what you have to do, you have to practice to be silent, and you have to practice to spread love and kindness to them. And also you have to train your mind to forgive them, right? Sometimes we may get angry for little things, right? The fights and the troubles that they are going on in the family life or in the workplaces are for very little things we are fighting. Remember, if we cannot forgive the people around us, we will never live peacefully, right? If you don't have the habit of forgiving, you cannot live peacefully, because we cannot expect the people around us to always to do good things and the things that we like, right? They may do weird things, but if we cannot forgive and forget, right, you will always see the mistakes and the wrong things and the troubles that has done by the people around you. The more you see it, the more you will become distracted in your mind. So instead of developing that evil thought, you can develop a wholesome thought. It's like this. Now, there are two sides of our mind. There is the evil side and the wholesome side. Okay? Think these two sides as two animals. Okay? So one animal is very dangerous, right? And the other animal is very calm and quiet and serene. And it is very useful. So if you keep on feeding one animal, suppose you fed the dangerous animal, the more you feed that animal, the more that animal will be strong. And that animal, with the time, that animal will control the wholesome animal. Right? The problem with us is we are feeding this dangerous animal. Right? Instead of feeding the dangerous or evil side of our mind, what you have to do is just feed the wholesome animal. Right? If you feed the wholesome side of your mind, what will happen? It will start to develop. Right? When it starts to develop, it can overcome, it can control the dangerous or evil thoughts of your mind without letting that evil thoughts to appear inside your mind. So what you have to do, just feed, always do and say the things and think the thoughts that feeds the wholesome side of your mind. Then with the time, that evil habit will be broken, and you will find that you always have a good habit instead of evil thoughts and evil habits. And that is how you break the evil habits in your life. So stop feeding the evil thoughts in your mind. Instead, feed the wholesome thoughts and make your life a peaceful one. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai.